Ever send a text you really wish you could delete? Like
Yeah.
really delete, not just that vanish mode thing.
Yeah.
Turns out all that digital stuff kind of sticks around.
It does.
And that's what we're diving into today, the world of digital evidence.
Right. Yeah, fascinating stuff.
So we've got some really interesting sources about this. And, I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's like every case has some digital angle now.
It's unavoidable now. It really is.
But before we go full CSI on this, let's break it down for anyone who, might not be totally up on their tech jargon.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about when we say digital evidence?
Basically, any information on your electronics that can be used in an investigation. So think emails, texts.
Yeah, but also like GPS data from your phone, browsing history, online purchases, social media, all that leaves a trace. It's kind of amazing how much we just broadcast constantly without even thinking about it.
It is, and it's a goldmine for investigators these days.
Speaking of gold mines, our sources talk about smartphones as being like treasure troves of data for investigations.
Right.
What makes them so data rich?
Well, think about it. Your whole life is pretty much on there, right? I mean, you've got your communications, your location, your photos, browsing habits, even financial transactions if you use things like Apple Pay.
Yeah, it's almost scary how much is tied to this one little device.
And it's only going to get more intense, like with the Internet of Things, smart homes, wearables, all that just adds to the digital footprint.
So we're like leaving a trail of digital breadcrumbs everywhere we go.
That's a great analogy. It's like Hansel and Gretel, but instead of breadcrumbs, it's our data leading investigators to the truth.
Hopefully not to a witch's house, though.
Right.
Let's hope not. So with all this data out there, how do investigators even begin to make sense of it all? Our sources mention some pretty significant challenges.
Oh, absolutely. The volume alone is staggering. I mean, you're talking terabytes of data sometimes. And then there's the technical expertise needed to analyze it all. You need people who understand how to recover deleted files, decrypt data, analyze network traffic.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is digital and constantly growing.
And needles can be important, crucial even.
Exactly. And our sources mention something called digital evidence management systems, DEMS for short.
Right, DEMS, they're like super-powered organizational tools for digital evidence.
So instead of drowning in data, DEMS help them swim through it.
Exactly. They can scan massive amounts of data, like emails for specific keywords, or analyze communication patterns to flag suspicious activity.
So it's not just about finding the evidence. It's about understanding it, making connections, and building a case.
And doing it all legally, which is another huge challenge.
Right, making sure that digital evidence is admissible in court.
Exactly. The chain of custody has to be perfect from the moment the evidence is collected to the moment it's presented in court. And DEMS can help with that too by creating a secure and auditable trail.
So these tools are essential for ensuring that justice is served in this increasingly digital world.
Absolutely. They level the playing field in a lot of ways.
Our sources highlighted a fascinating financial fraud case where digital evidence really cracked it wide open.
Oh, right. That was a wild one. They followed the money literally through a maze of shell corporations and offshore accounts, all by tracing digital transactions.
Talk about a digital paper trail.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. And it makes you think, what's next? We're already dealing with things like deepfakes, AI-generated content. The metaverse, all this new technology creates new challenges for digital evidence.
It's both exciting and a bit daunting to think about.
It is, but that's the nature of this field, always evolving, always pushing the boundaries.
It certainly makes you think twice about that digital footprint we're all leaving behind.
It does, and the importance of understanding how it can be used both for good and for bad.
That's a great point to end on. For our listeners who want to learn more about this fascinating field, our sources recommend checking out www.icrimefighter.com. It's a treasure trove of information on all things digital evidence.
It's a rabbit hole you can really get lost
In the best way possible, of course.
Yeah.
Until next time, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of digital evidence.